Family, welcome to another episode of Financial Freedom. I am your host and accompaniment on this journey, Derek Brown. Look, we got started back in March 2020 in the midst of a pandemic with the mission to inform and inspire. And thus far, you've been with us on the whole journey. We went from one show to over 35 shows, from a few views to 45 million views all around the world. So I gotta say thank you. But if you get a moment, go ahead and follow us on social media at The Hope TV. One word, one handle, at The Hope TV, all caps. And as always, thank you so much for being here. Like, share, subscribe. Other than that, we got a great host today. Look, yes, we have a great host, but we have a great guest today by the name of Marquise Boone. This man is a juggernaut. So he's a spiritual leader, industry executive, motivational speaker, artist manager, best-selling author. He has managed some powerhouse voices in the music industry. His business, called Marquise Boone Enterprises, which operates in the cross-section of entertainment, publishing, management, ministry, and financial education, recently just signed with RCA Sony to release new talent jointly. So he's finding that good talent out there. He's also the co-host of the Painkillers podcast, which tackles everyday issues and gives us some life hacks about how to address some of our problems. He's also also the founder of the MG Wealth Circle, which works to change the way others see their relationship to money and legacy building financially. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Marquise Boone.
Mr. Derek Brown.
Look, man, I'm glad you're here. I was looking over this and I was trying to condense all this stuff that you've done into a paragraph, because I don't want to spend 30 minutes of my show introducing you. So I appreciate you bearing with me. So look, dude, clearly you've been doing some things. I read in your bio that you started at 25. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
Man, I will let your viewers take a stab at what they think how old I am.
Okay, all right. I'll take that. But I only ask.
Technically, I started younger, but I started my organized company at 25. But I graduated high school at 16. I went into real estate at 18 and made my first million. So my company was formed in when I was 25.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, bro. Hold on. You made your first million by 22.
By 22, man, in real estate.
Profit. You just didn't sell a bunch of million. Because people are like, oh, he's a multi-million-dollar seller. But it don't take much to sell $1 million in real estate. It don't take much to sell $1 million. Right. So you made $1 million in profit by 22.
Profit, man. Profit.
So I just need your address so I can stalk you and learn all your secrets. So this is all right, man. So look, let me ask. Since you've been a millionaire since 22, what does financial freedom look like to Marquise Boone?
Man, financial freedom, man, it's for me, it's less of the actual tangibility of money. It's more about the freedom of time, travel, the ability to do what you want, when you want, how you want. And like I always tell everybody, man, I wake up when I'm done sleeping, not because I have to get up.
Look, that is a whole different lifestyle and a mindset. Because and I'm saying that because most of us, we are on a clock. We are on somebody, some institution, something's clock. So we're up by 6, 7 a.m. in the morning, not because we have a project we're so excited about, but because we got to be at work, we got to be at school, we got to be at whatever we got to do. There's no such thing as just waking up when I feel like it.
That's true, man. And that was one of the things, man, I know a lot of people who are wealthy push, oh, you get up by 5 a.m. and it's the early ones who get the worms.
Right.
But me, man, I worked hard for 20 years and it's like, what's the use of working hard for 20 years and still having to do the same thing 20 years later? So now I'm finally at that place where I can get up when
here's why you get this face. Here's why you're getting that face. You're getting that because you graduated high school at 16. You got your first million by 22. You ain't work hard for no 20 years. You weren't working for 20 years. So, wait, hold on. Wait a minute now. So I'm giving no, seriously. Okay, so I'm not Marquise Boone. I didn't graduate high school at 16, right? I'm not a genius, which people automatically assume if you do something like that, you a genius, right? So was it that you were just always inspired to be an entrepreneur, or was it something you stumbled across at 16, 17 and was like, forget it, I might as well try it? What was different about you that may have made you stand out among your friends? Because I can only imagine your mindset at 18, getting your first million by 22 wasn't common, I'm imagining, in your friend group.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great question. So for me, my journey living in the inner city of Baltimore, I really didn't really see any type of entrepreneurship outside of drugs and gangs. So for me, at the age of 13 is where I kind of took a turn and really wanted to get on track. And I think probably about, I want to say maybe 14 or 15, I did a summer job. And it was my first summer job. And I was working at an apartment complex as a junior maintenance man. And that was the day or the summer where I said, I'm never working for anybody in my life. I mean, after that summer experience, man, in the hot sun, painting the curves yellow and painting the curves red and going over the lines. And I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I don't think I want to. And so from that point on, man, I literally went back to school and was like, you know what? I'm gonna find a way to get out early. I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna try to put all my mind and my mindset into being an entrepreneur, whatever that is. Cause I don't even think I had the context of what that was. I just knew I didn't want to work for someone.
Right. Got you. So let me ask you this. What traits did you find yourself discovering when you were becoming an entrepreneur? Because we have a boom now, especially among the Black community, in which being an entrepreneur is popular.
Facts.
Being an entrepreneur, saying you're a CEO, a boss, is just like the thing to do right now. And if it's a t-shirt company or it's whatever it is, it's something that maybe not traditionally get that kind of money that's going to pull in $1 million. So what was some of the things that you had to put in play that maybe you still walk with now that keeps you moving in the right direction to keeping your freedom?
Great question, Derek. So for me, man, it's definitely consistency, man. I think within our culture, when things don't happen as fast as we want, we give up, we retract, we go backwards, or we go on to the next thing. So I had to learn how to stay consistent. So even just the smallest thing of, okay, I'm going to find a way to graduate early. I was getting turned down. I had to apply. I had to talk to counselors, and it was a lot of more hoops to jump through. But I stayed consistent in it. Same in real estate. When I got into real estate, it wasn't as just easy as buy a property, flip it, and you're gonna make a whole bunch of money real quick. It was like keep staying consistent. And I gotta keep showing up. I gotta keep putting in money. I gotta keep investing. I gotta keep doing this. So it was consistency was one of the major traits. And then another trait that I learned, man, was delayed gratification. Because I had the ability to get it, I had to deny myself, man, because it was the long term versus the short term. And I think if you can keep consistency and delayed gratification, it is the ingredients, man, for financial freedom and for success. If you can learn how to deny yourself for a portion of time and keep the forefront of the focus and the vision on the forefront of your mind, anything is possible, man. I always know who's going to be successful based on how long they can stay consistent and how long they can deny themselves.
I think you mentioned something that's very important right there. You said for a designated portion of time, can I delay my own gratification? And I think that if I'm correct, it sounds like, hey, you need to put a date on this. Like, this is going to happen for this amount of time. And then when I get to that point, I'm going to reassess if I have to keep going that way and for how long.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is, man. I always challenge people, don't get so caught up in the future that you miss the present. So in my present, I keep dates and I keep deadlines and I keep target dates that I want to kind of, get to, but I don't live so much in the future that I ignore my present. but you definitely want to have goals. You want to have timelines. You want to have deadlines. You don't want to just shoot in the dark. You don't want to just get up and just wing it. You really want to have some type of strategic structure. Like I knew, hey, I want to graduate in 2.5 years. So you want to have that type of system going on as an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is not the absence of structure. It's the ability to structure yourself.
The ability to structure yourself. So let me ask you that under this time frame, in that kind of discussion of structuring yourself, what is the difference between someone like you who has this amazing ability to discipline and structure yourself as far as your idea of time management versus those who say who do not have that kind of that thought process? Because you lead a group, so I'm guessing you've hit some of these questions before. What does time management look like or feel like for Marquise Boone, juxtaposed to somebody who's just maybe working a 9 to 5, or like me, like I'm a glutton for working more than one job because I just need something in the moment. But what does time management look like for you, who can just get up when he feels like getting up?
Yeah, so great question again, Derek. So for example, most people, when they look at someone that has what they would call arrived, they only see them in the present. So they don't see the 4 years. So I wasn't always like, oh, I just get up when I'm done. So I always had this thing when it came to my time management. It wasn't always about, oh, this is what I'm going to do the first hour of the day. This is what I'm going to do the second hour of the day. This is what I'm going to do the third hour of the day. My time management looks more like themed. And what I mean by themed is on Mondays, this is what I do. If it does not fall within this category or this type of work or this type of stuff, I'm not even doing it. Tuesdays is this type of thing. For example, I'll give you an example. On Mondays, when I was not in this space, but I was more so grinding harder and getting up in the morning and all that kind of stuff, Mondays and Wednesdays were my only 2 days that I would do meetings. So if somebody wanted to meet with me, if I needed to have a conference call, if I needed to do counseling, if I needed to do, some type of business meeting, those were Mondays and Wednesdays. If it was not on a Monday and Wednesday, I was not meeting with anyone. Tuesdays and Thursdays were more like my study days for like church, for preaching, for motivational speaking, things of that nature. Like those were my theme days. Saturday became my day. It's whatever I wanted to do on a Saturday. That was just my day. And so my time management came down to themes. It came down to themes, not necessarily this is what I do the first hour, the second hour, the third hour, the fourth hour. Mine was, I'm going to manage my time on Monday based on these type of categories. And if it falls within that category, that's what I'm going to manage myself with. And then you want to also put in there, stuff like, time for yourself and relaxation and meditation and all that kind of stuff to keep you really sharp. So for the person who may not be as structured as me, you want to have accountability, having someone close to you that are strong in areas that you're weak in. So if you're weak with time management, then you want to have a very strong an assistant or some type of partner that can structure or help structure your day or structure your weeks, structure your day.
I want you to talk to us about what your experience is like as a millennial in the entertainment industry.
I would honestly say that my gender probably played more of a factor than my age did. She's a female, so she probably don't really know, or she probably can't really, and so then they will just write me off. But we got that together.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
waters.
Dad,
that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
I was super excited to find out that Sound Mind wanted to address this particular issue when it comes to our children and their feelings. I recommend as a therapist that it's so important for the parent, the guardian, the foster parent, whoever, to make sure that you're present. And I don't mean just in the room, but pay attention.
So let me ask you this, even within those terms of time management, right? When it comes to the ability to theme your days, how do you know when an opportunity comes or some type of event comes that, because I ask this because you have a very multifaceted business structure, like you do a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you know when an opportunity comes that's too much to put on your plate? Or when something else presents itself and says, "Hey, look at me, this is good," but you have to say, "Nah, ain't it? I can't pick that up right now." You handle so much. Like when do you say, "Nah, I can't do this"?
Yeah, I always use the example of a candy jar. So a candy jar sits what we call an infrastructure. And you'll walk into your dentist's office or your doctor's office, and every time you go to that counter, they have that candy jar. And that candy jar is big enough only to hold a certain amount of pieces of candy. Now, I can bring in a brand new bag of candy and drop all of that candy on top of that candy jar. But if that candy jar cannot hold, or that infrastructure cannot hold more candy, something's going to fall on the wayside. It's going to fall on the outside. And I'm the same way as my business. Like the only way to hold more candy is I have to enlarge the infrastructure. I have to enlarge the jar. So I always gauge new ventures or opportunities based on having a very, very hand on how big is my infrastructure, how big is my staff, how big are the projects we have going on right now. A lot of times, just because it looks lucrative doesn't mean it's beneficial. Because what's the point of me taking on another contract that may bring in $500,000, but it's going to burn my staff out? I may get some people to quit. Then I have to rehire. So you really have to look at it more. That's why I said it's not always about the tangibility of money. You got to really look at the bigger picture. So if it's going to cause more friction, more issues, more hard work, and the stability of your infrastructure is not big enough or quality enough to handle more, you want to slow down your pace and readjust, or say, does this really fit in our now? Or can we adjust some things to make it work?
So let me ask you this, because that's a very good comment about understanding your infrastructure and what you can really take on. So as a person who's come from B-More, who has, I'm assuming, maybe first generation millionaire. I don't know your business like that. But they have all these comments that say stuff like, if you don't come from a wealthy family has to come from you. But when I listen to your story, you've come across so many different changes. And it seems that as you've elevated, you've had to expand and adjust to all the new things that's coming into your life. Help me understand how you were able to handle the risk assessment. Normally, people do this without even thinking about it. Some of us are risk averse, and some of us are like, "Yay, fear!" And like, how did you handle the risk assessment of that and determining, wow, like if I don't do this, I'm not going to expand. If I don't do this, I'm not going to grow. Having that background, like you have a reason to be wealthy, quote unquote, right? You don't.
Yep. So I would say this, Derek. So for me, I didn't come from a rich family. Like my parents were on Section 8. I was about 16. My mom didn't get her first car till I was about 13, 14. And we took public transportation. So for me, I came from nothing. So my ideology when it comes to risk assessment, faith, and the ability to jump is like, I have no choice. I'm not afraid to jump because I jumped when I had nothing. And even what happens a lot of times is when people start gathering and winning, they start becoming more comfortable and less risky. And you'll never get anywhere if you don't have that same mentality that you had when you first started. You didn't know what you was doing when you first started. So you have to always approach the new season the same way you approach the first season. So every time my business is evolving or growing or expanding, I'm always back at that same place I was when I was 16. I'm just going to believe and I'm going to try, I'm going to jump. And the Bible tells us, he said, unless you're like a little child, like I'm grown now, but I still have that same zeal and energy. Like, yo, I'm going to jump. I'm going to try it. I'm going to believe. I'm going to do it. And I do it, man. Like, I didn't have money when I started now, so why can't I do it again? It's like my mind doesn't function in the space of I can have faith to do it when I don't have money, but I can't have faith to do it when I do have money? Or is it more I don't want to lose the money that I've attained? I already know within my own structure, I'm not going to lose what I've already obtained because I put in the right structure in place to make sure that even if I lost everything now, I still have stuff laid away for the next generation. Like my risk has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the people coming behind me. So every time I'm adjusting my company or my company is expanding or we're going into some type of new venture, it's from the perspective of reinventing myself. I believe that if you ever want to expand, you have to be so open to being like a phoenix where you can burn yourself down in order to be rebirthed. Like I retired from pastoring and people were like, why are you doing that? And, you know, in the Black culture, we only see pastors retire when they die or when they're old or when they're this or whatever. There's never been a real structure or a real model where you see people walk away and it's not a scandal and it's not, you know, because the church isn't growing. Like, I have a thriving church and the Lord told me, he was like, when I was 16, he said, if you go hard for me early, I'll let you play hard later. And when I got to that point and I said, you know what, is it time now? He was like, yeah, go ahead, you know, live. And that's what I did. And everybody was like shocked. But I wasn't afraid. Like, I wasn't afraid of the ridicule. I wasn't afraid of the questions. I wasn't afraid of what people would say. This had nothing to do with everybody else. It had to do with me. So you have to be comfortable with having that same heart you had when you first started.
Wow. So I heard someone say on every level, you have to be comfortable being a novice if it's brand new.
Yes. Yes, my mentor, Bishop Jake says, every time you walk into the room, you have to walk into the room or approach the text like you don't know nothing about it. Like you know nothing about the subject. You know nothing about the industry. You know nothing about the area that you're, quote unquote, an expert in. Like you always have to be a novice.
Right. I think, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I think one of my biggest disappointments in life has just been reaching that point where you very much understand you never arrive. You're always becoming. You never actually get there. I was just hoping to just get there. But you never actually get there. You're always becoming something else. Because I began to find that the people who thought they had arrived were some of the most arrogant, insufferable people. I just couldn't stand it. It just it killed me. But I just began to arrive, and arrive to the destination of understanding that I'm never going to arrive. So
you never. It's always a destination driven type of walk, man. It's like being a taxi driver. Like just because you had a drop off doesn't mean you're off. There's somebody else waiting to be picked up. There's something else waiting to be learned. There's something else waiting to be explored, something else waiting to be discovered, something else waiting to be built, developed. So it is that main word you said there, becoming. I'm becoming a newer version of the old me. I'm becoming an older version of the younger me. I'm becoming a richer version of the last version of me. Like it's always a becoming.
Right. So let me ask you this, and I don't know how much time we have left, but I want to ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I was coming up in high school, I graduated high school in 2001. Kind of put myself out there, but I graduated high school. Hint, hint. So when it comes down to it, here's what I kept on hearing people tell me, go to college and specialize. But I always had interest all across the board. I had a homegirl of mine. I just met with her probably about 3 weeks ago. She was on her way to yoga. I said, you go to yoga class? She says, no, I teach yoga class. I was like, oh, but I thought you also have this business over here. She said, well, I do. I said, so help me understand. She said, I get paid for my lifestyle. I love yoga, so I teach yoga, and people pay me to come, so I teach them yoga. I also do herbs and elderberry syrup and stuff like that, so people pay me to produce some elderberry syrup. Let me ask you this. You were already in a niche a couple of times. You were pastor at church. You were doing real estate. You were doing fine. How did you not sink into that space of, you got to specialize and be really good at this one thing? because especially for millennials, all we heard, at least for me, was specialize in something. And to be multifaceted was to mean that we didn't have any focus. How did you deal with that question a lot of what do you want to do with your life?
So by nature, man, I'm a rebel. Like that's just who I am. I am a natural rebel. So whenever a person wants to box me into you can only do this. I grew up in an apostolic type of, movement where you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, you couldn't do that, you couldn't do that. And so naturally it was always me pushing the envelope. No, you can't box me in, you can't box me in. So whenever I heard people say, hey, what do you want to be? And at the time I wanted to be an architect. Like I wanted to draw and build houses. But I knew it was more than that. Like, but I also had a love for entertainment. I love music. I love this. I love speaking. I love motivating people. I love inspiring people. So naturally, when I hear you should specialize in something, I naturally just gravitate to push away from it or push back against it and push the envelope. Like people go, and I get these kind of DMs all the time. People go on my Instagram and they say, man, I was scrolling through your Instagram and I'm trying to figure out, what do you really do? And I'm like, I do whatever I want to do. Because a lot of times we feel like, oh, when you go to somebody's page, whatever they specialize in is what you see on their page. Man, I am a natural rebel, so I'm always going to roll in this vein of what I want to do, who I want to be, what I want to become. And so right now I'm in this creative space where I'm just creating stuff and inspiring people. And they're like, man, but what do you do? Like, do you design? Do you edit? Do you this? Do you that? I'm like, I do whatever I want to do. I'm an inspirer. Like, that's just what I am. I'm going to motivate you based on whatever you feel.
Hold on.
We are talking about pioneer women and women who are blazing the path for all of us.
I started this campaign with a prayer and a plan, and I just worked that plan. God saw fit to predestine me for this position. I'm honored that the community, they listened to what I had to say, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be a pioneer.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Like you said, a lot of people think that you just wake up and say, oh, this is what I'm going to be and this is what I am, and that everything happens overnight, and that is absolutely untrue. You have a few friends who's in jail right now? Do you have a few friends who's in trouble right now? I said those judges and all of that stuff really, really matters. The congressmen, all those people matter. So you have to make sure that you pay attention to those things and the numbers of what you're voting for.
Hold on, Marquise, because you're making this sound too simple. You're making this sound too simple. Did you? Because, and the reason why I say that is because everybody, I think, and you correct me because I'm going to push back against you a little bit. Is it that you had this multifaceted brand from the jump, or did you grow into this place where you could have a multifaceted brand? Because it's because it sounds like you definitely had some sort of grounding first. And then you said, okay, now that I have this, I'm going to go launch out and do a few different things. Help me understand.
Yeah, so faith was my grounding, man. That was the foundation. And upon that, I started to build real estate. Real estate gave me the resources to have fun and explore and invest and do everything else. So that was the stake and the foundation. Once you find that thing that supplies and supports your dreams, your hobbies, your desires, then that gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. And that's why.
So this is the financial vehicle that you had on your IG page, the Wealth Circle page.
Yes.
All
yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So having a financial vehicle is very important. If I'm hearing
it's very important. So money is not an object to me. Money is a vehicle. So what is the thing that gives me the freedom to get in that vehicle and do whatever I want. And for me, it was real estate. Real estate is what gave me the money to dump into. Like, I didn't go into music or entertainment because I had a degree. I went into it because I had the money. So I was able to compete with major labels, with radio budgets and marketing budgets, because I was dumping tons of money into these new artists.
Right.
So they looked at me crazy because they like, this is a disruptor coming into our industry who has no history in it.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, so we make it difficult. It really can be less complex and easy if we just have one, the desire, the vision, and the dream. The resources can come that gives you.
Wait a minute, that was one? Good Lord, you ain't playing out here. That was one. He said the desire, vision, and the dream. That's one.
That's one.
That's a lot.
That's one. And this is why, Derek, check this out. This is why I say it's one. Because a lot of times we try to break those three things down and say, well, I have the desire. This is what I want to do. I really want to do it. But if you don't have the dream for it, like if you don't have the vision for it, what's the heck? So what? You got a desire for it. A lot of people desire to be skinny. Guess what? They still fat. A lot of people desire to.
Stay away from my summer powder keg. Stay out my business. You in my business now. I'm gonna have this 6-pack before the end of the summer. You don't stop doing this. Stay out my business, Marcus. All right, now go on. You're gonna edit that whole example out. We're gonna edit that whole example.
No, man, the reality is, the reason why I say it's one is because you can't get a cake until all of the ingredients are in the bowl.
Got you.
So I'm just saying to people that are listening, like, yo, don't try to say, well, I got the desire, but you don't have the rest of the ingredients in the bowl. Like, I want everything in the bowl, then let's mix it up and work it.
Okay. So
I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense. So as it, my inner fat boy is happy with the cake analogy. But so here's so on your wealth group on IG, right? On your website, I went to your link tree on there. You got I think I forgot the name of the subscription that you have for these different things. What are we learning on these things that are going to help kind of change our mindset when it comes to it? Because I find that one thing that kind of hit me, and even looking at my credit report, was that our credit report is looked at like it's our relationship with money. One thing that I remember getting from you in your bio is that you modify people's relationship with money and legacy building.
Yes.
My name is Derek Brown, and I want to produce wealth and pass something down to my children. Yeah. What am I going to get from these services you're offering me online via IG, all the links, and help me do that?
Yeah, great, man. So you're going to get real practical hands-on stuff that's been tested and tried by me. So I'm not going to teach you anything that I haven't already applied to my life and done. So a lot of the hacks that I teach in my wealth circle is stuff that I literally done. Like, I'm going to teach you literally like hands-on hacks on how to literally take your credit score up, by small things that nobody, and I can drop a little few things here if we got time, but like small things that nobody really explore, everybody say, well, credit cards at a certain percentage and all that kind of stuff, but nobody tells you, hey, I want you to charge up everything you can that month and then pay it all off by the end of the month and do that 3 months in a row. And then what you're going to do is you're going to apply for a credit line increase, because now you've already started the metrics of showing them that you know how to pay off what you charge. Even if you can't afford that, but you're doing to discipline yourself for those 3 months, because my whole job is to get a higher credit line of credit, because it's going to also give you a bigger ratio when it comes to debt to credit ratio. So small hacks like that, you're going to learn about insurance and how to make life insurance your foundational wealth, where you can use it as your own personal bank. And instead of going to the bank to borrow money, you're actually using your own financial situation as your life insurance to borrow against yourself. Like, you're going to learn real hands-on stuff that I have actually participated in and used for myself. And this is how I built my financial freedom. Like right now, I'll post every now and then, what my credit score is in all three bureaus. Like I have an 832 right now. Like I'm trying to get that perfect. And I'm showing people how to do it. I'm giving them little skills and insights, and I give them first dibs to, great opportunities to invest in startup companies that are going somewhere, like Uber and Spotify and all these other things that most people don't know about until after they are big companies. So you're going to learn a lot of hand stuff and real hacks.
So what you saying is, Derek, come on and join so I can save you. I'm all for that.
Derek, you could be my guinea pig, man. You got influence over a certain group of people, and sometimes it makes it easier when they see their influencer start. And then once they see it work for you, guess what? They now believe it and they start to do it the same thing you do. So you could be my guinea pig, man. I can show you. Give me 90 days. 90 days.
90 days. Look, you know what though? If maybe we can work something out, because if I could document journey on here, then we could show the progress and what's going on, and I can get some free services. I'm down for that. Like, I'm all the way in.
That's how we do it, man. You help me, I help you.
I'm all the way in. look, I'm down. I am so down for this. Look, man. Okay. I'm coming back. We laughing and joking. Okay, but for real. So, before we go, I know you hit these a lot, but what are 3 misconceptions at least that you hear that you have to commonly correct with people trying to create wealth?
Say it to me one more time, Derek. You broke up for me.
Got you. We got a few minutes left, but I want to get these from you, and then I want the antidote to them, because I think I hear a lot of different things going on. So, what are at least 2 or 3 misconceptions about building wealth that you commonly hear? And then what are like 3 life hacks or corrections you normally give for those myths?
I love it. The biggest one that I hear, number one, is that you have to have money to make money. Like, I hear that one all the time. Like, like, if you didn't come from a wealthy family, or if you didn't have money to start, then you can't start. And that is not true. So the hack to that is this. I'm a living example. I didn't come from a family that had money. We were on food stamps and stuff. I had to figure out how I was going to pay for my first semester in college. So the hack to that is, my aunt gave me one of the most beautiful gifts, and that was credit. She added me as an authorized user to all of her credit cards when I was 18 years old. And so I didn't know what credit was, but by her adding me as an authorized user, all of those positive years that she had on her credit then reported to my credit. So at 18, I had a 752 credit score. Didn't know what that meant. So that's one hack. That you don't have to necessarily give your child money. You could give them good credit instead of giving them bad credit. We got a lot of people in our culture that use their kids' credit. By the time they turn 18, they got bad credit. They got collections from gas companies and electric companies, and they never even opened them up. It was their parents that did that. So the opposite is just give them credit. Give them good credit. You can start there. The second thing that I always hear is that no one gives me a chance. 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 It's not about the chance. First of all, the hack to that is this. You have to be so hungry that you do your own research. There's no reason why you don't research. Like, I took years of researching. I was searching. I was asking the questions. I was trying to find the right people, the right connection. When I first started in real estate, I was a field agent, but I was like so hungry that I was connecting to the owners of the company and going to closings with them and asking them and being inquisitive or whatever. So it's not about having someone give you a chance. It's about seizing that chance, finding the information, building your own stage, your own platform, instead of waiting for someone to open up a door for you. Kick the door down. Build your own door. Walk through it yourself. And then the third
Go ahead.
And then the third thing that I would say is this, is that I don't make enough in order to become financially free. And that is another lie. And I believe that the hack to that is really essentially stop trying to live for external people and live like nobody now. The reason why so many of us say we don't have it is because We looking for a windfall. I have a lot of people who will say to me, "Hey man, I'm gonna join your circle soon when I get my next big windfall, or when I get my next big check, or when I get my tax return." They're looking for this real big amount of money to come, and don't understand that if they don't discipline and change their actions now with a little, when the big windfall comes, it's only going to magnify how they operate with that paycheck. You get what I'm saying? Right. So if they don't know how to budget the $1,000 a week, they're not going to know how to budget the $10,000 check that comes. So I tell people all the time, it's not about the windfall. It's about now disciplining yourself, putting yourself on a budget, not eating out, not doing this, saying no to that or whatever in order to save to fund the thing that you want to do. Or you may have to get a second job for a certain season that will fund the job or the business or the thing that you really want to do.
Yo, that was a lot. So thank you for that. Mr. Marquis, where can we find you at on social media?
You can find me on all platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Boone M. That's BOONEM. And you can check out my website. It's marquisboone.com. Or you can go to my wealth circle. It's MG Wealth Circle on Instagram. All right?
Yes. Yo, come on now. I've already joined myself. So I'll be seeing you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Marquise Boone, entrepreneur, millionaire man from B-More. Came up out of nothing. Now I got it. My man pulled it out the mud. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us. I so appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. I know time is valuable, even though you can when you won't. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening on Financial Freedom. I have been your host and accompaniment on this journey, Derek Brown. And as always, I hope to see you again. Be safe out there.
Yeah.